Thank you so much for being
Thanks for
here
having
today.
me on.
The whole idea of these chats is just to have very informal, casual conversations with other people, and maybe you talk about one or two topics that you're interested in,
Okay.
so other people who might search these topics
Yeah.
would get a little bit of insight.
Yeah.
First of all, maybe we could start very briefly about how you and I know each other.
Yeah. I think it's been 3, maybe 4 years since we know each other, and we live in the same residential complex.
Yeah, yeah,
And we met in the badminton court,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think. Yeah. And yeah, we've been friends. We got along really well from day one, I feel.
Hmm.
Yeah. And we've had really fun times together.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. And you're also very, very passionate about some things like music.
Yeah. That's right.
So maybe we can talk a little bit about music,
Yeah.
the origins, what got you passionate about it,
Yeah.
influences.
Okay. I remember the date, 6th August 2022.
Hmm.
That was the day I bought my first guitar,
Yeah, yeah.
an electric guitar. Jimi Hendrix was my main inspiration behind buying a guitar.
Hmm.
It'll take me a long time to get as good as, or maybe I'll never get as good as him. But uh, yeah, he's the one who inspired me to play guitar. I listen to a lot of blues music and jazz and country music, folk music. Stevie Ray Vaughan is another inspiration of mine. Uh, Country singers like Hank Williams also inspire me. John Denver. I don't like the new age music or techno music too much, electronic stuff. Um, yeah, I like the old stuff too much. Robert Johnson was one of the earliest player of blues,
Hmm.
and yeah, he's very good. And I would ask you to listen to some of blues music as well. Yeah,
Blues, is that more from like the southern states of
yeah,
US?
yeah, yeah. That's right.
And what got you into Jimi Hendrix in particular?
I think in my weed smoking days, that's when I picked up Jimi Hendrix and Pink Floyd and the Rolling Stones, Beatles, and it just gives you a trip. I think music is the only high you need in life, and yeah, it's very inspiring. It really moves you, and yeah, I think it targets the same part of your brain that drugs and processed food targets.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like gives you that dopamine rush.
That dopamine high.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are you listening to nowadays? What's on your
Uh,
radar?
These days, I mean, I listen to old stuff most of the time, and Marcus King is an artist who I
Yeah.
got into recently. He's a fantastic guitar player, and he's also a great singer. I showed one of his songs to my girlfriend, and she cried, literally
Oh,
cried.
really?
Yeah, so he's very impactful in that sense. Yeah,
And you, correct me if I'm wrong, you're also doing the guitar. You've been doing
yeah.
it for a
I've
couple
been
years?
doing it for 2 years now.
Okay. And are you self-taught?
Yeah, I'm self-taught.
Fully self-taught. I
Yeah,
believe Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, they're also
yeah, yeah,
self-taught, right?
yeah, yeah,
How has that journey been, the progression? I have seen a couple videos and I have
yeah,
seen some progression. Do you maybe have some advice or tips for people that are learning guitar
yeah,
from scratch,
yeah.
self-taught? What's the progression? How to improve? How do we see
Okay.
the progress?
Okay, I think Marty Music is a channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
Marty Schwartz teaches guitar, and he's a very good teacher for beginners. And I think yeah, I think just practicing every day, even if you do 30 minutes or 10 minutes every day,
Yeah.
it makes big help. Yeah, you'll make good progress that way. And you should know your chords. Learning music theory is very important. I'm also getting around to doing music theory, and it's very complicated, but little by little one can get better at it. And yeah, know your basic cowboy chords, and then try doing bar chords after you're done with that. Bar chords are the difficult ones where you have
Mm.
to fret the whole fretting with one
Mm.
finger, so they're slightly more difficult than regular chords. And then you can learn a solo, guitar solo. I think it's better if you have an electric guitar to do a solo. It's harder on the acoustic, and acoustic for chords and stuff like that. Yeah, and you can when you play chords, when you play a melody, you it makes you want to sing. So you sing and you have a good time. It's very good for mental health as well. It brings a lot of peace to me when I
Playing.
playing guitar and doing music. Yeah,
And do you think it activates like another reward system when you're able to learn something, chord progression?
yeah. Definitely. It's just like going to the gym when you add more weights and like you add more skills to your playing and learning something new. It definitely excites you, and there's a lot of reward that you get from doing it, like from mental point of view.
For
Yeah,
well-being. And
yeah,
it's like reps at the gym. The
yeah,
more you're
yeah,
training,
yeah.
the better you get.
Right.
So you're basically telling people self-taught guitar,
Yeah,
see some YouTube videos,
yeah,
work
definitely.
on the chord progression,
Yeah,
and you said
Soloing.
soloing and
Yeah.
also consistency each and
Consistency
every
is,
day.
yeah, very important.
And how do you find the motivation on the days you're not feeling very?
I'm always motivated. I've never had one day since I started playing that I didn't want to play the guitar. And when I go on trips, when I'm outside, I miss it so much.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm very inspired. I'm inspired all the time. I wish I had something to tell people how to inspire themselves, but I'm inspired all the time. And I've hardly had a few days where I didn't play the guitar. I've been playing it every day since I bought it. I recently bought an acoustic one, so that's going well.
Are you going to be posting stuff on your YouTube channel anytime soon?
Um, Hopefully, yeah. I'm good. I'm actually taking lessons from next week for my vocals, and if I get better, I'll definitely post some stuff on YouTube.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I have seen your vocals and those.
yeah, and they
Yeah,
need improvement.
they they could. Yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
it's always good. We always want to
Oh
improve
yeah,
all aspects of our life.
definitely.
So that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
And you're also someone who, from a different topic, you're
yeah,
also someone who's very much into thinking about existence, which is a
yeah.
beautiful thing. I think that's something that we all think about a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Existence.
Yeah,
Um, you and I have had some very interesting conversations about the origins of
definitely.
existence and stuff.
Yeah,
And I believe you have something very interesting to share about your perspective on the
yeah,
Big Bang.
yeah.
Maybe you can shed some light on that.
I've also had I have a keen interest in astrophysics, so I read a book called Beginner's Guide to something. I don't know. It's a Neil deGrasse Tyson book on astrophysics, and I read Carl Sagan's Cosmos.
Yeah, yeah.
They're very good books. I recommend these books to people. If you haven't read it, you should read it already. And um, yeah, I saw a video of Professor Brian Dean conversing with Joe Rogan about Big Bang, and Joe Rogan posed a question. He asked, "What was there before Big Bang?" And he replied there could either be two possibilities. The first possibility being it could have ended another universe. It was maybe the end of one universe, but it's also the beginning of one. And does it make sense?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Expound on that more. Yeah. And the second possibility was that it can't be questioned since it originated the fabric of time, so it can't like be questioned. But there's proof of Big Bang. If you look out in the sky with a telescope, the powerful telescope, you'll see like that the universe is expanding. And during the Big Bang, it was smaller than a strand of hair. So it was that small, and it was very hot during that time. And there's this concept of reverse gravity, because gravity usually attracts things to the center of the mass. That's why we stay grounded. But in reverse gravity, things are blown outwards rather than inwards, pushed outwards. So that's what originated Big Bang, and the universe has been expanding since. We can see the expansion of the universe with the telescope. So people who question the Big Bang, they're very wrong.
So
Yeah.
the universe is still expanding.
Oh yeah.
This is a known fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was also, I'm not sure if you followed the episode with Brian Cox.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He was on Joe Rogan, and he
Yeah.
also said that he also challenged the origin of a Big Bang. Like it could have been that there was no Big Bang, or the universe has always existed, or
Yeah,
something.
I think he's a believer in Big Bang, but he does question it sometimes. Yeah, it is a possibility that we've always been here, but I think that's been clarified. The Big Bang definitely happened, but it could have been like the end of the previous universe and the birth of a new one. That's also a possibility. It just expanded the universe a bit more. Yeah.
So if there was a previous universe, what do you think this would look like?
Um, I don't know. There could be infinite amount of universes with indefinite possibilities. I don't know. Infinite possibilities. Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. It's very thought provoking.
It is very thought provoking, and I think as human beings, we're always questioning
Yeah,
existence,
yeah,
and we always try to make sense of things.
yeah,
And Big Bang is one such way. I think we've been debating it for millennia.
yeah, yeah.
What is it?
We're
What's
we're
the
apes on a rock, pretty much.
essentially?
Yeah, floating rock. Yeah,
And we're here for a very short time. And
yeah,
in this short time, we want
yeah.
to expand our consciousness. We want to understand
Definitely.
ourselves. We want
Yeah,
to question our existence.
yeah,
You and I were also talking about purpose,
yeah,
finding purpose.
yeah,
Purposelessness
yeah.
can lead to nihilism,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and on this topic, what
Mm.
advice do you have for people to maybe find some purpose? I think we all grapple with that, finding that
Yeah.
life vision and stuff. Do you have any?
Um, I think to improve yourself constantly and
Yeah,
to bring a change in the society, I feel these are very meaningful thoughts and purposes to live life by. Um, yeah, one could definitely fall prey to nihilism and just think it's the easiest thing to do,
Yeah, yeah.
to think that there's no purpose, so why even get out of bed? But there's so many things out there in the world have that pull you towards them. They have their own gravity, like music, art, all the things that inspire you to create something, to use creativity. I think that's the purpose, to get better at it and to bring a positive impact on society as well. The people, what they can't see, they don't acknowledge. We can't witness evolution, so people question it all the time. Yeah, they won't even agree that we're evolved from apes.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people who deny that, especially in India.
Really.
But yeah, it's pretty like the I think evolution, the theory of evolution by Charles Darwin, it's one of the greatest thoughts to ever occur. Like how things, um, during tough times, how things kind of evolve.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
To ensure their continuity
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
And it happens
nature,
over millions of years. So
hundred
obviously
percent.
we can't see it. We'll
We
never
can't
be
see it,
witnesses to it.
but we can see evidence of it, and I
Oh
think that's
yeah,
where biomimicry comes in place,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
We are looking at the marvels of nature, and based
yeah,
on that, we're planes. A lot
yeah.
of things we see, architecture, a lot of it follows the laws of nature, what we've
Right.
seen in nature,
Yeah,
and evolution is one of the greatest.
yeah,
I don't know, provides the greatest lessons for us,
yeah,
right?
yeah. People have this belief that humans are the smartest species on planet Earth, but it's been found recently that dolphins are actually way more smarter and have way more emotional intelligence than human beings, and they can communicate from miles apart from each other. Yeah,
And I believe dolphins are one of the few creatures that actually have the ability to recognize themselves in the mirror, right?
yeah, yeah,
There are
yeah.
not many animals that can do this.
That's true. Yeah.
Hmm. How do they measure this?
How do they measure?
Yeah, the emotional intelligence of a dolphin.
I'm not sure about the parameters that exist to measure that, but they're very kind, and they don't attack human beings, and yeah, they're playful, they're cheerful, so that goes into account, I think.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
And there's another topic
yeah,
that I think you have been exploring lately, and that
yeah,
is psychedelics. Is that
yeah,
correct?
yeah,
Um, if you're comfortable, maybe
yeah,
you can talk a little bit about
yeah, definitely.
what psychedelics are, what they do to the mind,
Yeah,
and your understanding of them
yeah,
that you might want to share.
yeah. Psychedelics are this super potent um, drugs that make you hallucinate, and they make you see all kinds of stuff and patterns, and you can feel feelings you haven't felt before. And it's crazy how a small chemical imbalance can create such a large impact and give you these profound visions about life and even afterlife. Some people have spiritual experiences. Some people feel like they're talking to God or something. Yeah. When I tried psychedelics, for when I tried it by myself, for a moment there was a time I was convinced I was dead, and I had an outer body experience. So I was levitating a few feet above my own body,
You
like my
could see
spirit.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I was just experiencing my demise after my death. Yeah, it was very profound.
Interesting. Was it?
Yeah, it was scary, to be honest. Yeah, and I also had like a temporary paralysis during my acid trip. It got scary that time, where I couldn't move or something, because I was genuinely in belief that I was dead the
Okay.
entire time. Yeah, that was very interesting. That was the most scariest trip I've had on
Uh-huh.
acid. Yeah, but it's fun. It makes you talk, and it gives you very profound insights. And I told you the feelings that you haven't felt before. So it's crazy. It's very difficult to explain an acid trip. Um, there's like sometimes you feel like the light is too loud, which
Mm.
doesn't make sense in the ordinary sense of the word. But yeah, it's very hard to describe an acid trip. Yeah, but it gives you very profound visions, and like I said, it's crazy. It's a very small chemical imbalance, and DMT, the stuff Joe Rogan talks about a lot.
Yeah.
It's something that animals produce. It's produced in the brain once we die,
Yeah.
and people who have tried DMT say that they can experience their whole lifetime. It only lasts about 10 minutes, the whole trip, and they can see their whole life passing in the 10 minutes. So it's crazy what a small chemical can do to your brain. That's
So why do you think we have DMT in our brains that's emitted,
yeah.
especially when we are coming to the end of our journey here?
I don't know. It's like a, I don't know, ending sequel. Like we have in, like in Marvel movies, you get a
Hmm.
little clip at the end of the movie.
Has that made you less scared of the concept of like
And then,
mortality and
oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I think I've overcome fear of that to a certain extent. I'm still afraid of it. If you're not afraid of it, it means you're not enjoying life as much.
yeah?
I feel, yeah. But yeah, that is very scary. But I definitely don't think there's an afterlife. Anyone who says it, I how do they even know? They can't be for sure. 'Cause if they're dead, right?
Did you, in the time that you had like a psychedelic, did you like kind of? Some people have talked about. Obviously, you were talking about when a light was too loud. Someone was
Yeah,
talking about how I have a person I know who said that like he could hear uh,
shapes.
shapes
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and visualize sounds and stuff
Yeah.
like this.
It's a kaleidoscopic experience of
Yeah.
thoughts. It's like your eyes are pushed into a kaleidoscopic world, and yeah, even flowers have sounds and lights have sound. It's and it's a whole kaleidoscopic experience. The things that are solid turn liquidy and wobbly.
Hmm.
So that's a unique experience. I had this thought about consciousness. There's a lot of mystical thoughts around what consciousness is. I'm
Yeah.
sure you feel it that way
Of
as well.
course. Of course.
But I don't think it's something more than uh, the right biology, right mixture of biology and chemistry in the brain. I don't think it's more mystical than that. I'm sure we'll, in a few hundred years, we'll get to the brass tacks of what it is and we'll nail it down. Consciousness is, yeah,
Because we don't know of consciousness. I guess we're for a long time people have been debating, is consciousness in the brain? Is it
yeah,
within us? Is it
yeah,
in our soul? What if it is in the soul? What is the soul, and where is it?
yeah,
Or is it in the fiber of our being and our cells?
yeah.
You're saying that consciousness you think is nothing but
The right chemistry and the biology.
hmm,
Yeah. And because what confuses people is that how could a bunch of lifeless things come together and
yeah,
form life?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But if you see the ingredients of what makes life possible, they're very basic, and they're scientists are trying to find those ingredients in other planets. I don't know how what your take on aliens is, but I don't know. Are you? What do you think? Do they exist?
Well, a lot of people I've talked to have said that like they strongly believe, most of
Okay.
the people, that there is life outside of this
Okay.
world.
Let me ask you another question. Do you think what's the more scarier fact, that there's no alien life, or there is and they'll never be able to reach us? Sorry.
I think I'm able to sit better with the fact that we are the only life on this universe.
Okay, that brings more peace.
Because I feel like we are not here by coincidence, and there's like
Okay.
there's a greater creative force that's in charge of us being here, or that's the catalyst for us being here.
Right.
I'd like to reflect that question back to you.
Um, I think there's definitely life on other planets, considering how large the universe is. Speaking with just probability alone, there definitely could be life. It could be a simple single cellular organism or multicellular organisms, but so much time has passed in the universe. So, sorry. So we can be sure that they must have evolved to a higher species as well. But we're just talking about like figures in the air, right?
Mm.
We're not. Yeah. It could be anything. There could be so many possibilities of how life was involved if there was habitable life in some planet and
Mhm.
how it evolved. I'd love to see some proof of it. But we're not smart enough to travel across several millions of light years to discover life on other planets.
I just want to ask you one more question about the psychedelics.
Go
Um,
ahead.
some people have also said that they are able to witness the ego or something like that,
Yeah,
or
ego
diffusion.
dissolve. Yeah.
Will you be able to, if you're comfortable,
Yeah.
expand on that? What this means? What is the ego? How does it dissolve?
It's almost impossible to describe it to you, but you feel all of your ego building up. You feel the self building up, and you see it dissolve.
What is the ego?
And
Sense of self.
yeah, it's a sense of self. It's I don't know. It's almost spirit. If I'd like to, I don't like to use the word a lot, but you see it dissolving, and you become one with everything. And there's a million thoughts racing in your heads at that time, and you can't catch any of them, but you can feel like there's a million thoughts in my head. And it's a long trip, by the way, and there's ups and downs during the trip. So this is one of the ups of the trip, the ego dissolving part. Yeah, you feel really connected to nature and everything around you.
And the universe,
Yeah,
life, the life
yeah,
force.
yeah.
But
I
I
think
guess
the psychedelic experiences only like made me very curious about what there is other than the physical reality that we see around. Yeah.
there's something far deeper, you think?
Um, I don't know. It's I don't think there is. I think it's like a movie you watch in your brain. That's what psychedelic experience is. Because people have similar experiences. This is what's been reported. You can go and um, Google and find out what happens during the entire trip because people have similar experiences. So it's a chemical acting the same way to many people. So I don't think there's more to life than science has to offer. But it makes you feel that way is what I'm saying. That there could be some spiritual world or something like that. But yeah, I think it's just a chemical imbalance. You don't feel that way after the trip has ended. Yeah,
Because there have been people who have taken it. I've never taken psychedelics, but there
uh-huh.
have been people who said that they feel connected to one consciousness or
Yeah,
something greater
yeah, yeah,
than the being that they witnessed.
yeah, yeah. And you also feel connected to like a network of people in your mind to other
Mm,
psychedelic users.
I've heard about this, like
Yeah, yeah,
nodes,
yeah, 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 yeah. Like we're all connected
like a
somehow.
web.
Yeah, 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 like a web. Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard about this
yeah,
as well.
yeah. So see,
Seems,
there's similar experience, right?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
this makes me question that you're not really, if you're having similar thoughts like these, it's not an individual, unique experience that's being catered to you. It's the part of the brain that's, I don't know, maybe we're being forced to think about it this way. That's how the drug works.
Okay.
Yeah.
People can also have some bad trips.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How can you ensure that people who are considering taking a psychedelic or whatever doesn't have a bad trip
Okay.
and they're taken care of and whatever?
Okay. The first thing is set. The whole you have to be in a good environment with light, and preferably in you could either do it in the mountains or a beach or somewhere scenic, and do it in a place you're comfortable. And if you're doing it with other people, you should definitely do it with friends you're comfortable with, because there's a part of the trip where you want to talk a lot and you have a million thoughts racing in your head. So you talk a lot and you overshare. So you should be mindful of that, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Set and setting, these are two things that one should take care of if they're having a bad trip. And they can take a like a Xanax or drink some alcohol to reduce the acid trip.
And what about microdosing and
Yeah, microdosing is very powerful. I mean, it's very sense. It makes a lot of sense because a lot of people in Silicon Valley do it all the time. They microdose it. Even some people microdose at work. So that's interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it makes you more productive.
But I do also wonder if psychedelic mixed with Xanax or alcohol, which is another drug, could
Yeah.
actually exacerbate things on a deeper level without us seeing. So, do you
It
think there's a more safe way in which?
no alcohol actually brings it down. The high of LSD
Okay,
is known to bring it down. It's a proven thing. And
okay,
Xanax will calm you, but don't do too much of Xanax either.
okay.
Yeah.
But I guess what you're saying is people should do their research,
Oh yeah,
their due
definitely. And if they
diligence.
have past mental illnesses, they should not take any psychedelic drugs.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So like they should do their research and all that stuff
definitely. Yeah,
before
yeah.
taking any of
Oh yeah,
this.
it's a very powerful drug. It's lasts about 12 hours. So
12 hours.
yeah, 8 to 12 hours.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
And it
interesting.
goes up and down. Like
Hmm.
yeah,
Ebbs and flows.
yeah.
Whatever.
But down doesn't mean that you don't feel high. It's like you feel high, but in a slightly negative way.
Mm,
Yeah,
interesting.
that's what a trip is. It goes up and down. Shows you all the sides of life.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So we've talked about your love for music. We've
yeah,
talked about um, Big Bang, the
yeah.
universe,
Yeah.
psychedelics, and is there anything else that you think might be interesting to?
Um, yeah, there's this thought, also very thought provoking idea that the past, present, and future exist at the same time. Because, like, I'm not sure how to explain it, I'll be honest. But yeah, because time is not linear, it's not always linear. And if you're going at the speed of light, you could like go to a far away place and be back. And people, you wouldn't have aged a second, and people will have aged thousands of years. So you could if you're traveling super fast at 99.999% speed of light, you could achieve time travel. Is what I'm saying. You could travel into the future.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So that's where past, future, and present are figments of they're illusory, you could say.
yeah, they are. Yeah, because time is the only. It's I don't know. It's the only way we keep touch of how things are going, how time is being passed. I don't know how to explain time without using the word time. I think that's a difficult one. Yeah,
Very interesting and
yeah,
thought-provoking stuff.
yeah,
Um, you are obviously someone who questions things, which is
yeah,
very interesting. And I think, with this life that we have on Earth,
yeah,
our goal is also to understand ourselves, our mission, and also to question
yeah.
our existence as a means of, I think, bettering ourselves, right?
Definitely.
Because when we have a why, then we can also work towards the how and other aspects of that life.
Mm,
Things will fall into place.
yeah,
Thank you so much, Dhruv, for this chat. And normally at the end of this chat,
yeah,
I ask one question, and that is for anyone that's watching,
yeah,
do you have any piece of advice that you think may be useful for them?
yeah. I'd like to quote Hunter S. Thompson and say, "Buy the ticket, take the ride. Life's too short."
This
Yeah,
is beautiful.
yeah.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
man.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, brother.